Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Sunday morning special Reddit. And of course, as always, what makes it special? You do. And the fact that we also really have tea. There are no tricks, only tea. Alright, folks, our first letter is titled, I'm a 20-year-old female, and my boyfriend, a 26-year-old male, used the hall pass that I gave him, but broke the rules, and now I'm not sure what to do. And this is from the relationship advice sub. I'm a 20-year-old female, and my boyfriend, a 26-year-old male, have been together for just over a year now, and recently we had a dry spell. I lost all of my libido due to stress in life and was not interested in adult time for about a month and a half. While we were in this dry spell, we had a conversation where I essentially gave him a hall pass to find a random hookup to get his, for the lack of a better word, frustrations out. In this conversation, I had stated 3 boundaries. 1, I did not want it to be a friend. I wanted this as a one-night stand Tinder sort of thing where we would never have to see or hear from them again. 2, he needed to wrap it up. And 3, I did not want this in his house, in his bed where I sleep. Yesterday, all day, he had been avoiding my "what are you up to's" and "what did you get up to today?" And eventually I got it out of him that he had just gotten back from dropping Nicole off at her house. The story I was told was that they had been friends for a long time, but had been catching up recently. I knew that they had seen each other on Monday of this past week, but apparently they had also hung out several weeks ago and thought that he had told me, but did not. I confronted him about my suspicions after he was being dodgy all night, and ended up calling me to admit that yes, he had slept with someone else. And not only that, but he had not wrapped it, that he did it with a friend, and he did it in his place in his bed. I lost my mind, rightfully so, and his excuse was that he has ADHD and has a terrible memory. This is not the first time that his ADHD has been used in fights over not remembering things, and did not remember any of those boundaries that I had put into place, except for the one about the bed, which apparently he didn't think of in the moment, and it was just too late. She had also apparently sent him nudes earlier in the week, but that doesn't even have anything to do with this. It just irks me on top of everything. I'm just conflicted. On one hand, I literally gave him a hall pass and told him that he could go exploring if we were in a dry spell. Plus, this conversation was on a drive home, and there was just a lot of joking and banter exchange because it was a light-hearted conversation at the time, so I could see how his memory could be foggy. But this foggy? I'm not sure. The part that really hurts me is that I've been working on myself and de-stressing and working really hard at getting myself back to normal, and my libido had started to come back, and him and I were actually active in the bedroom again. So in my mind, I didn't think that the hall pass applied because we weren't in a dry spell. The situation is so nuanced and the lines feel very blurred, yet still walked all over me, and I'm not sure if I made too many rules and things just got too complicated and he's not at fault and I should just let things go, or if this was a step too far and I need to end things and never see his sorry butt again. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. OP, you definitely should walk from this. You set 3 perfectly reasonable boundaries.
I can't remember 3 rules.
Right, like, first of all, like, he's using his ADHD as an excuse.
Yeah.
If his ADHD was actually makes him that forgetful that he can't remember boundaries, he should not be in a relationship, because you shouldn't be in a relationship if you cannot respect people's boundaries.
Well, on top of that, like, if he knew he was going to have a hard time remembering these rules, then he could have written them down. He does have 2 hands, probably.
Yeah, like, this is a clear lack of interest in remembering them on his part, and he wants to have some kind of plausible deniability, but the fact that he was so dodgy shows that he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if he had been very straightforward and upfront and not dodgy and been like, oh, yeah, I mean, I'm just chilling out, doing my friend over here, and then it might have been like, oh, why? And then be like, well, our agreement, right? I'll get back to you later when we're finished up here. And then that might have been like, oh, maybe he's just really misunderstood the directives here, but he was acting suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was doing was wrong. He wasn't upfront with you, and I think that that's pretty clear from this conversation.
Yeah. And also, like, if he's going to do this, like, first of all, you weren't in a dry spell anymore anyway, but,
Yeah.
like, a lot of relationships do go through dry spells periodically, especially after big life changes like kids. And, like, do you really want to be with someone who's going to be like, oh, yeah, I know you're at home taking care of the baby, but I, like, bopped out to go do my friend, so...
Yeah, I mean, and this was like a month.
Mm-hmm.
A month dry spell. A month dry spell, and suddenly he can't keep it in his pants any longer. I mean, certainly, like, that's pretty absurd that after a month he's like, yeah, I'm gonna need to take my frustrations out. And I mean, like, each relationship is unique, and each relationship is going to have its own set of rules. And certainly if this is a thing that you're fine with and you're okay with him going out and sleeping with people other than you, then that's your prerogative. I'm not saying that that's a wrong way to conduct your business. If you're happy in the relationship and you don't feel like you're taken advantage of, that's fine. But if this is something that you really kind of begrudgingly agree to and aren't really happy about, and now on top of that, he doesn't even respect the rules that you've set out, so you know this isn't going to just be random hookups. Mm-hmm. It's going to actually be people he knows, and it's going to be he's going to be putting your health at risk too by not using protection. There's a lot of other things to consider here, so.
Yeah, OP, like, he does not respect you at all, because if he did, he would have made sure that he made note of those boundaries and would not have transgressed them so heavily.
Yeah. So I really don't think that OP is wrong here. I think that she set out a very clear set of expectations. I don't think 3 rules is hard to remember. It's not like she handed him a stack of papers this big and was like, here, I need you to sign each one of these pages. We're going to go through each statement. Remember on section 4BA that you can only do this under the light of a full moon on the Thursday of October 15th. So, I mean, it wasn't like that, right? And it's like, well, that would have been like a little complicated, right? But certainly 3 rules is not too complicated for somebody to remember. And again, like, if he has trouble remembering things, then that's on him and he needs to write things down. Let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Skyawake 1393 says, you need to reevaluate this relationship. And Erica K15 says, I just had a baby almost 3 weeks ago, so I still can't have adult time, and I was told that no adult time back in January after the surgery due to my cervix. My husband has dealt just fine since mid-January on not having adult intimacy. Just like, what's up with this relationship? And that's what I'm saying, is that there are going to be dry spells in relationships, and the fact that he can't respect even this amount of time is pretty absurd. And OP replies, I hope you have a safe and healthy delivery. I hope one day to have a husband as dope and non-jerkery as all of yours. And I needed some harsh words, as nothing else was getting through my stubborn thick skull and rose-colored glasses. Aha. So it sounds like OP is pretty well settled at this point. So there's a happy ending here. So we're going to see one less bad relationship here in the future. All right, folks, our next letter on this Sunday morning special, it must be really special if there are 2 stories, is titled, Am I a Jerk for Lending My Kids Money for a Down Payment? I am not rich. I still have to work very hard for my money. That being said, I do earn over $200,000 in an average year. My kids are out of university and are working, but are having trouble purchasing houses. I wonder why. Even with the government programs and such, the housing market is ridiculous. I have a substantial savings and I tend to blow through my money on random toys that I want. Like I said, I work hard, and on my time off, if I feel like restoring old cars for fun, then I will. My kids approached me about getting help on a house. If they can go into a purchase with 25% down, then they can save on fees and get better rates. I thought about it and I agreed to lend them the money in return for equity in the purchase. For example, if my daughter buys an $800,000 house and I lend her $200,000, then I own a quarter of the house. If she sells it for $1 million, then I would get $250,000 back since I own a quarter of the equity. She said that I was being ridiculous and that I was a jerk for not just giving her the money or at least having it be an interest-free loan. My son took me up on the offer and bought himself a moderate home. Between the first-time home buyers program, my investment, and his partner's savings, we managed to buy a home for them with almost 50% down payment. My daughter is still calling me a jerk for taking advantage of her brother and is just going to buy a condo when she can afford one on her own. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk. Like, if you want to give the money as a loan and not a gift, that's one thing, but you shouldn't then have equity in your children's house.
Well, I want to know, are they supposed to pay this money back over time? Is this an actual loan, or is he actually purchasing 50% or 25% of the equity or something like that?
It's kind of vague, so I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it sounds kind of scammy, and like he's just trying to profit off of his kids.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want to profit off a family, right? And it seems really odd that he would take this as an opportunity to profit off of his kids. And in general, I think like an interest-free loan would be fine, and maybe even a small interest loan would be fine. I mean, I think it's not because he would be losing out money on investments and whatnot, so I'd think that would be kind of a all right thing to do, but I think in this particular case, asking for equity in the house is a little much. I really do think it's a little much.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like he just doesn't really care about his kids at all. Like, I just want to spend my money on me, you know. I'll help my kids if I can profit off of them, but I'm not going to just help them. Like...
Yeah. Well, and he also isn't understanding how the housing market is. He sees the housing market as a way of taking advantage of his kids' unfortunate situation. They didn't bring on the housing market to themselves. This wasn't like their own actions causing the housing market to be terrible, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, everyone in our generation is just like, we can't get houses because these prices are astronomical.
Well, and there are no houses.
Yeah.
On top of that, there are no houses, and any houses that do exist are too expensive. And so certainly it's a difficult situation because they didn't bring this on themselves, and I can certainly understand him not necessarily wanting to give them a free loan, but, you know, just give them a fee. Say, like, you know, pay me back this amount of money over the next few years or something like that.
Yeah, although I still think it's kind of a jerk if you're trying to profit off of your kids.
Yeah, I think profiting off of them is not necessarily good, but all I'm saying is, like, if they went to the bank and got a loan, then the bank would still charge them money. And in fact, the bank would probably charge them a lot more money. So I can understand still being like, yeah, I mean, I'll give you this amount of money and eventually. So I don't think there's anything wrong as long as it's not like gouging them. Being like, oh yeah, 10% interest, pay up. That's a lot, right? And or owning a quarter of someone's house is a lot too. Especially if this is like a loan repayment plan, because then at that point in time it isn't really a loan. So I don't know. And I mean, I guess in some ways, if he isn't expecting them to pay this back ever, then in some ways that's actually pretty beneficial to them because they would still be making a profit. So really, I guess it just depends to me what the terms of this loan is, if it's a slow repayment plan or what have you. So let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Z01Z says, do they have to pay it back, or are you waiting on them to sell it to get it back? Not the jerk if you just keep it in the house for your 25% share, and then when they sell it, you're the jerk if they have to pay it back and get 25% when they sell. And OP replies, to be clear, I get my principal plus a percentage of the net profit. And okay, I only get my money when they sell. I see. Okay, so it sounds like this is a straight up they own a percentage of the house and then they never have to pay it back until they sell the house. So
OP's kids, just hold on to this until he dies and then you can sell.
It's pretty morbid. I mean, to be fair, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And like, certainly I think that this is still questionable territory. It does feel like he's taking advantage of them when the housing market is terrible.
Well, his language is still unclear. I get my principal plus a percentage, so it sounds like it still could be the $200,000 plus another 250. So, like, I don't know what he's saying there.
Yeah, but he also has that clarification. I only get my money when they sell.
Yeah, but, like, again, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So let me know what you folks think your interpretation of that is. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. And like I said earlier, I actually have some tea here. And Amber, she has a honest to goodness joke. She was chuckling about it, so I'm curious.
A boy asks his father, "Dad, are bugs good to eat?" "Son," the dad says, "please don't talk about things like that over dinner." After dinner, the father asks, "Now, son, what did you want to ask me?" "Oh, nothing," the boy says. "There was a bug in your soup, but you ate it."
Ugh, that's awful. That is, yeah. Just remember, don't sweep business like that under the rug. And I just have taken so far back by that I have some Mega Mint tea. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, spectacular, special Sunday. I hope you're all having a great weekend so far, and that it's treating you just amazingly. Amber, we need some kind of moral guidance, some kind of advice, and please have it in the form of a malfunctioning GPS.
Take I-95 to blue and turn blue and dump your cheating boyfriend.
Why is it saying blue?
It's like the malfunctioning sound. It's like garbled. I don't know.
Dump your cheating boyfriend. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.